All right, we're back. Surfing Life with Malcolm. We're on this journey together. There's always more, and we're learning to use our mind for success. I know it's kind of like you could gather. Am I leading up to, is this all about business? Because that's how most of you know me. No, remember, this was a journey I've looked at on my life. My ups and my downs, my flows, my direction. Up and then down. Have it all, lose it all. So, let's just think about, right? Hi, my girls are with me watching. Let's recapitulate the last two lessons, right? Just a quick review. So we learned about, our minds, we come from God. So our minds come from God's mind. God creates. So we're connected through God's creation. So our mind's capable of creating. But only through His power, right? It's not our power. It's through the source of the universe, through God. Therefore, our thinking is really important. What we think and how we think is important, because it was God's thoughts, that is creation. So, and then we opened up with the second lesson, episode 2. Not a lesson, it's just a journey together, right? So we opened up with the question of what is, right? Life is, and because what we experience in itself and all of that, that's what is. And I left with the question as we finished. I won't say yesterday, because it depends on when you look at this. But the question was, what is life? What is life? So it's 10 minutes to 5 on Friday afternoon here, getting close to coming to sunset in a 1 hour's time or whatever. For me, that's the end of my week. Right? My week ends at Friday evening. And my new week begins again on Saturday evening. The sundown to sundown, that's the daytime. Not one day to the next day is sundown to sundown. When I study Hebrew and everything like that, that's it. Doesn't say I'm Jewish. Doesn't say I'm Seventh-day Adventist. It's just the way it is. It's not what we make, right? This is how we get all out of whack all the time. We made time with calendars, and this has got to be, and we're always chasing, we're always feeling, and so I'm digressing. So let's get back onto it. Today we're going to be diving even further into the truth. What is life? Holy cow, remember I talked about yesterday, that's a big question, and we thought about it. So in the first place, what do we mean by life itself? Life, what do we mean by that? Well, we mean that which we see, we feel, hear, touch, or taste. And the reason for it, life. Life is here in this physical body, what we feel, see, hear, touch, and taste. And this is the most important part, the reason for it. See, the reason why we're feeling, seeing, hearing, touching, tasting, right? It's usually after the fact we pay attention to it. So we got to come in contact with all we know of life. And we have already found what life is, or we could not have had any of these experiences. So everything that's been happening in our life, we came in contact with it, and we already found what it is. We just maybe don't realize it, and we couldn't have done it if we didn't have all these experiences. Starting to catch where we're going here? So in the beginning was God, creator of life, and out of this life, which is, everything which is made. Out of this life which is, everything which is made. Now, come on. So life must flow through all things. There's no such thing as dead matter. Moreover, life's one, it cannot be changed except in itself. All forms are forms of this unity and must come and go through some inner activity. In us. This inner activity of life or nature must be some form of self-consciousness or, self-knowing. See, life is not something out there as we always think. It's in here. In here. So let's have a little look at this. In our human understanding, we call this inner knowing or consciousness thought. I have a funny story about my father used to always say to me about what thought did. Because I used to always begin when I was in trouble. But I thought. But I thought, Dad. What thought? In our human understanding, we would call this inner knowing or consciousness thought. And the spirit or life or God must make things out of himself through self-recognition or self-knowing, or as we would call it, thinking. Creation came from thinking. But don't stop and think that, I know we tend in our form to put God in like his beautiful hair, like my silver hair and a big beard. I don't have a beard, and a man, right? That's a physical being, right? But it's thinking. This is the key. Thinking. This is where we're leading to. We're going to learn to change our thinking. So since God is all, there's nothing to hinder him from doing whatever he wishes. And the question, how do things come into being? Since God is all, there's nothing to stop or hinder him from doing whatever he wishes. And the question, how do things come into being? It's answered. We just said it up there, right? That's how. Unless people are willing to begin here, they'll never understand how it is that things are not material, but they're spiritual. God makes them out of himself. There's no other possible explanation for what we see. You see, if we do not understand this, he makes them out of himself. We're using that word, he, right? Unless you're willing to begin here, you'll never understand how it is that things are not material, but spiritual. There's no materialism in your thinking. Thinking is what's going to create. So next time, you see, I'm just breaking this up. I put all this together over a month, and I got like more than 80 pages. I had such a hard, long look. This is not right. This is not wrong. This is just me. But if I can help you along on my path, and your path is the same, if you can help you along how I'm thinking, you can resonate. When we talked about Jesus before, and Jesus said, why was he such a good teacher? He painted a picture. I'm just painting a picture here. So next time together, we'll talk about man's place in creation. Remember what creation is, right? Thought. It begins with thought. So what's our place in here? That's you. That's me. That's what it's all about. So, Surfing Life and Malcolm, there's always more. And we're all about learning to use our mind for success.